So, um, going actually now that I'm gonna focus on you, Ray, and what we were talking about. Now that everything's ready, we should be going live now. So for those in the chat, say hello, drop a like, check out Mr. Ray Cabana. His channel, the Podcast Dojo, is linked in the description below. But
Awesome.
yeah, like I do like Animal Crossing. I've been playing it. I've already put in like 30 hours. I feel like that's not a slouch of an effort to play this game. And I definitely like it. Right, I like the music, for example. I'll have a track playing in the background right now for just to show you I do like it. But it's the same thing that I've been talking about every time I talk about Animal Crossing. It is an existential crisis for me. Because I'm like, oh, I have this town and I have this house, and now I have to decorate the house and put everything together, and I have to go build all these tools, and then I have to get the weeds and catch the fish and then to the museums, and then go to check the turnip prices, and there's a lot of little things that I think for me is a little challenging. Like for me, Animal Crossing is becoming more of I'm gonna play it for a few minutes a day or a few times a week, as opposed to going to town on it like some people who could spend hours and hours on this game. Now, I have had those bouts where I've put in like 2 or 3 hours in a row in Animal Crossing. It's just like catching fish, catching bugs, and doing different stuff like that. It gets a little taxing when I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should time travel. I can push myself even forward now. But like now I'm at a point where there's so much to do within a single day that I never feel compelled to do that anyway. Because I have a number of different fruit trees now, and then there's a lot of things to build and find resources for, and then I could visit another island if I needed to, and then there's all these different people to check in with on a daily basis that at this point I'd never even feel like I have enough time to even bother to change the day if I wanted to time travel.
Yeah, I hear you. First off, hi everybody, and thank you for coming. I haven't been here in a long time, but it's great to be back over here. It feels like coming back home. Now, now, I agree with you when it comes to Animal Crossing. As I was telling you prior to us going live, I haven't played New Horizons yet. I know that a lot of people do say that it's like the mother of all Animal Crossings, and I played pretty much every Animal Crossing out there. I just haven't played this one, and it's always the same thing with Animal Crossing for me. I play the game a whole lot. Probably 30 to 40 hours. After that, I'm completely done, and I'm find myself just turning on my console in order for me to see if everything is okay. Then I just go back, turn my console off, or just put another game in there and then just start playing. I feel like there's only but so much that you can do in the previous Animal Crossings prior to New Horizons. I don't know how New Horizons work though, but it seems like they added a lot of things that could keep me playing for longer compared to the other games in the past. I don't. Are you an Animal Crossing player? Because
I'm
I
more
know
of
that
a Animal Crossing hater. No, I'm kidding.
hater.
I'm not a hater. I like Animal Crossing, but as I've explained before, the only Animal Crossing games I've had a close experience with, or an intimate experience with, really, I mean, the only one is New Horizons, and now, New Horizons now, but in the past it was Wild World. I didn't get on the whole bandwagon for New Leaf on the 3DS, nor did I play the Wii version. No, and I did play the GameCube version, but I didn't own it. I just played it among friends, and that's pretty much it. That was my experience of Animal Crossing. But I like I said, I am enjoying the game. I'm just finding that the way I'm playing the game now has changed quite a bit. It's no longer play this game for a few hours a day, just kind of play this game for a few minutes a day. And that's mainly because I think for me, it's just not the kind of game where I can continue to do that. Like for some people, that is just like, it's good for them to come back home from work and just sort of chill and relax. And that is a relaxing experience for them. For me, I kind of want to compete a little bit. Now, I have noticed there are some little things you can do that are a little competitive. There's some challenges. Like I met is he a squirrel or a beaver yesterday? and I was able to go fishing, like the little fishing challenge. So I thought that was kind of fun. And then today I saw a label where she sort of challenges you to like come with a different sort of outfit. That felt taxing to me because I was afraid I would have to run back to my house, check which clothes I have, and put that together. Like, I'm really lazy. I didn't have to do that. I just changed the shirt she gave me, and she's like, "Oh, you're good," and that was fine. But there are little challenges like that I enjoy, like the whole ghost challenge. I forget his name, or what's the seagull's name? I know his name. It's Gulliver. Like Gulliver's pretty cool, and then Wisp is the name of the ghost. Like they're pretty neat. So I enjoy those little things like that come up. That part I have fun. And given that it's Easter, I'm a little curious about Zipper, the bunny, especially because he has a zipper in the back. I'm wondering what is behind that the mask, if it is a mask or if he just has a zipper as part of his body. I'm kind of curious.
They added that as an update, right? On after the last direct.
I think they locked that behind a downloadable update. That way people couldn't like time travel to the event. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for like I said, like for all I've seen, I think that New Horizons compared to like the previous games looks pretty good. Looks pretty direct. And the direct they had for Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I think it was great. And I think that the new additions they were adding to the game, I think they look pretty interesting. It's just for me right now, I feel like I would rather prioritize in other games that have come out. Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know if I would like put a lot of time or give it the deserved attention that Animal Crossing deserves, because I'm just so into Final Fantasy VII, playing that game right now, that I just don't want to chill anywhere else right now.
Got you. Yeah, I want to ask you about Final Fantasy VII in a little bit, but just for those who are new to the podcast, we do this podcast every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'll get into the chat in a little bit, but as the way this works, we communicate with the chat. If you guys have questions or ideas, bring them in the chat, especially if you add us. It's a lot easier for us to get into the chat and bring that into the conversation. This time we are going to be focusing on sort of what we sort of think is happening with Nintendo's summer plans, right? What sort of games could we see throughout the summer, given that we don't really know too much about it right now. So we're going to be getting into that, and we're going to talk about how now we know not just with E3, right? It is canceled, but they had plans for a digital event that is now canceled as well. So we're going to be talking about how all of that's going to impact Nintendo's summer plans, along with the whole Mario rumor for the 35th anniversary, but also going to be getting into how now the development for Smash Bros. Is going to be done remotely, as in not within the studio, but from home for the different developers, including Sakurai. So that's going to be sort of the focus for the discussion for those who are here and wondering what we're going to be talking about. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that, but of course we'll talk about other things as well, so if you have any ideas, of course, drop them in the chat. Let's see here, who's in the chat right now? Smash Fire, hello there, how are you doing? Control Alt Dan, what's up? Mango Man, good day. Super Chris, what's up? Beverly Carter, Darcy was saying, I feel like the urge to time travel is most prominent at the beginning. Once you get into the game, there's just so much to do, you don't even think of it. And yeah, you pretty much 100% went over exactly what I was sort of feeling. I just didn't know how to put it into words, because at first there wasn't that much to do in the beginning of the game, so I did feel compelled to time travel, maybe skip a day forward so I could do more activities. Now, whenever I get into the game, there's so much to do, it's almost I feel a little overwhelmed, actually, because I'm just like, I just want to do a couple little things, but there's all these different things to do, like get all the fruits and get everything that's hidden underground, and then catch all the bugs and all the fish, and talk to all the people, and then a number of other little things as well. So I think that's what it is that once you progress in the game, it gets to a point where there's just so much to do, you no longer feel the urge to time travel. At least for me, I don't. So, yeah. Has it felt like that to you, Ray? I know you haven't played too much of New Horizons as of late, but in previous Animal Crossing games, have you felt like that? Like at the first, the game starts a little bit slow, but it gets to the point where there's just so much to do within a day that alone is enough for you?
See, the thing is, when I go in, because I played Animal Crossing ever since, I will go back to the GameCube Animal Crossing, and I will tell you that to me, it really started slow. And, as time passed, that's when I started getting more into the game. But when I grabbed the latest game prior to New Horizons, which was New Leaf, I already had my expectations built. So I kind of knew how the game was kind of sort of going to start. It's just a different, it's just a different theme from the original. Like in New Leaf, you got to be the mayor of your town. But I had the expectations of how the game already kind of played overall, so I didn't go thinking, hey, I'm going to have this super extravagant fun experience, or anything like that. So I already had my expectations built on the last time on New Leaf. So I think that if I got the opportunity of playing New Horizons, I do think that it's gonna be pretty much what I expect. At the beginning, uh, from the beginning of a Animal Crossing game.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to take you in a completely different direction, just to move forward in the discussion. But if anyone has anything to say about Animal Crossing, by all means, bring it up. But Darcy has a question here, and I think you might have some perspective on it. So Darcy's asking, do you think our hopes are dead for Persona 5 Royal, or even the original on Switch?
Do I think that? See, that's a really good question, because if there's something that we've learned with the Nintendo Switch, is just to never lose hope on certain things. There's been a lot of titles that I've really wanted to be on Switch. Like perhaps
BioShock,
like a year,
the collection,
year and a half.
getting a whole
Exactly.
trilogy of the BioShock games on Switch. I didn't. If you asked me a few years ago if we could ever see that on a Nintendo system, they'd be like, yeah, right. And Half-Life 3 is real. Well, that's also not too far-fetched anymore either.
I know. And
Yeah.
another thing, another title that I was actually raging on Twitter about a year and a half ago, I don't remember the exact time frame, was Catherine Full Body. I wanted that game to be on the Switch so bad, because I remember I played
Isn't
the
it
original
like a little bit of a
back in the
predecessor?
Xbox 360.
Okay.
Yeah. And this one, and I heard that Atlas was going to release Catherine Full Body for the PS4 and then the PS Vita, and I was like, PS4 and PS4 makes sense, but PS Vita, why not Switch?
Yeah.
And
I mean, the Vita I could see how it could fit on Vita, right? Because I mean, it's like they could make it work on that. But now it's coming to Switch, man. Yeah. I never actually got a chance to play it, so I might play it now.
I may be wrong, but I think that it only came on PS Vita back in Japan. I may be wrong, I don't know. But I remember when I saw that, I was like, man, why don't they just put it on Switch in Japan, and then they just localize it here in the Americas? I love that game, dude. That game is awesome. Okay, it's a puzzle game, but
looks like it did only come out in Japan and for the Vita.
It's a puzzle game, but there's just so much into it, that you would never imagine. But I lost my hope about a year ago for that game to come on Switch. But hey, in the latest Nintendo Direct about it, and they actually confirmed it on the latest Direct. So I don't think you should lose hope on Persona 5 Royal or even the original 5. I mean, the original Persona 5, but don't go crazy over it. Like, don't think, oh, we're definitely gonna have it. No, don't do that. Just don't think about it. And if it comes, it'll come.
There's Persona 5 Scramble, right? So there's that, and that's a decent little package. It's not a full-on Persona experience, but it has some elements of it. So there's that. With Persona 5 Royal, which is looking like a fantastic game, I don't know what we could see for Switch. It may be the case that they focused on Persona 5 Royal for, its release, and then now that has happened, maybe then they'll start thinking about what else they could do with the Persona series. I think they will pay attention to Persona 5 Scramble sales on Switch, and I also, of course, we have Catherine on Switch now as well, right? Like, I've heard that Catherine's a bit of a predecessor for Persona, even though it's different type of gameplay. Like, I believe they worked on Catherine before they eventually made Persona 5. So it wouldn't shock me if like these other little things are related to Atlas. Eventually, you know, they build up and they have a Persona game come out on Switch as well. That could happen.
Right.
And then, of course, we have Shin Megami Tensei 5 that's supposedly coming to Switch, and I don't know when that's going to materialize. So, but
no, I don't know either. But another thing I wanted to bring up is that for all we know, we could also get our own Persona game, you know, for the Nintendo Switch exclusive. You know, you got to remember that Nintendo has the Persona Q franchise as well for 3DS. So maybe we could get something like that on Nintendo Switch. And yes, I understand this is not like Persona, like the main game, but it's still a very good game. If you guys ever are ever curious on trying that game, check out Persona Q on the Nintendo 3DS. They're pretty good games. So we may get something like that, you know what I mean? But I'm with you. I really would like Persona 5, the original one, and Persona 5 Royal, but hey, let's not get crazy over it. Let's just, if it happens, it happens.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of games on Switch, so obviously we have options. But it would be nice to see Persona 5 come to Switch, and maybe at some point it will. Like, I think it's a great point, Ray, that we're getting so many games. Don't lose out hope. So
I'll tell you something, dude. I have so many games that are sealed right now that if I show you what those games are, you're gonna get pissed at me. Really are gonna get.
Let's put a pin on that. So one question from Super Chris that came in earlier. He's asking where Brandon is. Brandon moved. Brandon is still setting up his internet. He's got a lot going on. Brandon will be back. Don't worry. But right now, Brandon has got stuff going on with life. He finally moved out of his parents' house, so he's got adulting to do. So he'll be back when he's ready.
A big step.
Yeah.
Big step.
Ray, just based off what I'm seeing in the chat, I kind of want to go in this direction already. But let me ask you this question. I'm curious what your answer is going to be. And yes, there is a correct answer and an incorrect answer. So no pressure. No pressure. Okay?
Oh, God.
Are we still going through a Nintendo Direct drought?
Are we still going through a Nintendo Direct drought?
Yes.
I guess you can say we kind of are.
Yep, that's the right answer. That's the correct answer. You got it right.
That's the right answer.
You can now exhale. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I think we kind of are. Maybe the reasons why I think we're still kind of in a drought may differ from what you think.
Mm-hmm.
But I
feel
like, you know, the latest Nintendo Direct we got was good in my eyes. I don't think, with all due respect, Andres, I know you're a Pokemon fan. I think it ended up not the best.
Well,
you know,
okay,
compared
you're good. I agree with you. So like, let me just clarify, because I made a joke on my last Mario video. I was talking about the potential for a Mario Direct, right? Instead, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But I was simply making a joke about how we're still going through a drought right at the beginning of the video with Charmander. And I noticed some comments in the video, people were like, oh, we're not going through a drought. We just got a Direct. And I think what some people are missing is that a Direct Mini is not a full-scale Direct. When people were talking about Nintendo going through the longest drought ever when it comes to Nintendo Directs, we were not factoring in Direct Minis. Like, the Direct Minis were excluded out of that conversation. So, we got, officially, it is a Direct Mini. So technically speaking, we have not gotten a full-scale Nintendo Direct since September of last year, okay? And the thing is, why does this even matter? What's the difference, really? The Direct Mini was 28 minutes long. What makes it a Direct versus a Mini? I don't think time is the most important factor here. It's really what announcements are made. Right, so for the Direct Mini, there were a good amount of announcements, but they were mostly things that were already known quantities, and the new game announcements were of older games for the most part, just for Switch, right? Like third-party stuff, and there was no big Nintendo games, like big post-Nintendo games that we didn't know about that were announced to come out this year. I think the only technical new franchise or new series or new game being published by Nintendo that was announced during this Direct was the 51 game board compilation that's being published by Nintendo. It's coming out this June. That is a published Nintendo game that was announced during the Direct, as far as I know. I don't think it was announced before then. That is it. And I would classify that as a minor Nintendo game, not a big major product, right? Like it's a board game compilation. Usually, I feel like most of you would agree with me that a board game compilation, while it could be fun, is not a AAA sort of experience or even like a AA sort of experience. It's something else. Point is, the Direct Mini didn't give us too much to sort of think about beyond Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which we already knew about. So once we get past May, save for that board game compilation in June, there are no known big published Nintendo games slated for this year, save for Bravely Default 2, but there's no actual release date for it. Point is, we're still going through a drought. We don't know what's happening for the rest of the year, which ties into the big topic for this video, Nintendo's summer plans and how we think things are going to shake out for that.
I have to agree with you. I think one of the reasons why people overlook that is just how the Nintendo Direct was formatted. Because this was the Nintendo Direct Mini, but you can debate on how long this Nintendo Direct was versus previous ones, and it's almost about the same time, when it comes to length. However, that's where I was gonna come. Well, that's where I was gonna come from when you asked me about if we are still going through a drought. And it's because, and I do think we are. I mean, I understand some people not seeing it, but I think we are. Just because the games that were shown in there, a lot of those games, we kind of already knew about it. I remember my brother, who is actually somebody who never misses a Nintendo Direct, have you seen the latest Direct? And he told me, no, I didn't waste my time with it because it's just basically games that we know that are going to come out, that we're already announced. And I say, well, yeah, you got a point, but it was a Nintendo Direct Mini, and I think Nintendo did a pretty good job naming it that. Because if they just named it Nintendo Direct rather than the Nintendo Direct Mini,
it would be a terrible Nintendo Direct.
Chaos.
Yeah,
it would have
I think the Mini wasn't classifying a Mini was important because it set a different expectation, and that's fine. But I'll also say that giving us more gameplay footage of Sword and Shield, that's great. I enjoyed that. But as something to end the Direct, I think that's indicative that they were not ready to show off anything really major. Right. But for comparison, the last Nintendo Direct Mini we got last year, they announced, what was it, Dark Souls Remastered? Was it last year or was it the year before that?
I think it was the year before that.
It was the year before that, wasn't it? So in 2018, I guess you're right, the Direct Mini we got then, Dark Souls Remastered was like that last big thing they showed off at the end. And I felt like that was a bigger deal than the Pokemon Sword and Shield trailer.
That was a big deal for me. And, when you think about it, they were both the latest Nintendo Direct Mini we got and that Nintendo Direct, they both came out of nowhere after people just really wanting a Direct so bad. But I agree that the old one, like the one from 2 years ago, actually caused more impact. Not just because of Dark Souls for me, but also because there were other games that were announced that I was really hyped for, like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Yeah, there was more Nintendo games discussed during that Direct Mini than there were in this one.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I think there's Mario Tennis Aces as well. That was a pretty big summer game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that's not to say things are looking dismal right now, but I think it is fair to say that we are going through a bit of a dry spell. January had Tokyo Mirage Sessions. February had nothing? I don't remember. Did we get anything in February? I don't think we got anything in February. March is Animal Crossing New Horizons. That's a big thing, right? But also Animal Crossing New Horizons appeals to a particular audience. There's another portion of the Nintendo fan base that isn't big on Animal Crossing. It's kind of like two different sort of side. Like, not everyone loves social simulation games, right? It's a different experience, and I like it, but it's definitely not the thing I normally enjoy. I prefer my awesome Zelda Metroid Prime experiences, and I want more of that. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is more along those lines. So that's something that I'm really excited for, and that's coming out this May. But keep in mind, for April, we got nothing. And then in June, all we have is a board game compilation. That is not... That, for the first half of the year, what we have is Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I guess there's a Mystery Dungeon. I don't know if that's technically being published by Nintendo, but there's Mystery Dungeon, Animal Crossing New Horizons, board game compilation, and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which is a remake, a great one, maybe the best remake of all time when it comes for Nintendo, but still a remake. That's the first half of the year. I would say that's a bit of a slow year. And I think what some people fail to realize is that Nintendo's going to publish more than 12 games in a year. If you look at their history, they publish at least 20 games in a year. At least. So there's going to be a lot of smaller stuff. I would classify that board game compilation in June as a smaller sort of Nintendo published game release for this year. I would also include Mystery Dungeon as one of the smaller little things. This year, I am expecting to be a little bit slower because of COVID-19, sure. But I'm kind of hoping that the slowness that we're going to get because of the whole virus situation is more in this first half of the year, and then the second half of the year is backloaded and we have kind of a really strong lineup to close things out. What do you think about that? Do you think that that's realistic? Do you think we should be more skeptical, and like the pace we're at right now is probably going to be the pace for the rest of the year?
I mean, I feel like the virus COVID-19, I think, something that I don't know. I feel like when it comes to that virus, I wasn't thinking at first like so much of it. I really didn't care. I just kept with my life. But it's definitely become something, and I'm pretty sure that at this point, it has slowed things down when it comes to development. I mean, in the Nintendo Direct Mini we just got, basically, they even said at the beginning of the Direct that, some dates of some games could be impacted due to the virus,
Right.
So I would hope the same thing as you're hoping. I think that this first half of the year is just going to be slow because there's not going to be much. I mean, there isn't much announced. There's a couple games that I'm excited for. I mean, I'm even excited. I will tell you this. I'm even excited about Xenoblade Definitive Edition.
Bro, you're going to love it. Like, I know you didn't get into Xenoblade 2 because you couldn't get your good grip on the combat system. I think Xenoblade 1 will be a little bit easier to jump into. I think
I did get into Xenoblade 2 after you and Brandon.
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to finish it?
Final Fantasy VII came out.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm just saying that it's a great game that I've been hyped for years now. So,
right.
Yeah, waiting for. Yeah, but when it comes to Xenoblade 1, yeah, I'll be excited to get into that. But my point is, things with the virus will slow down eventually. I hope when it does slow down, if that is impacting a lot of the release dates for some games that Nintendo has, I really hope that we have a bunch of games that are releasing at least monthly or every 2 months. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll happen this year, though. I'll be honest with you.
I mean,
I really would hope.
I hope things are rectified. There's some other things I want to get to, but I want to check in with the chat real quick, and then we'll jump right back in. So, a couple things. So, Darcy asked, is it possible that there is some deal with Sony that mainline Persona games need to be on PlayStation only, or is that something they would need to officially tell us if that was the case? To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if they would have some sort of, like, closed doors deal that no one would know about. I think maybe Sony had some hand in maybe the initial development for Persona 5, perhaps. I haven't really looked into it, so I don't want to say for sure. But I want to hope that now that development's done, that afterwards they can start considering plans for other systems. And maybe that's how they're going to go about doing it. Because sometimes, focusing on just having the release come out on one system, that takes a lot of effort. And then after that, maybe they could start to devote resources to porting it over to another system like the Switch. So maybe they just didn't want to, move their resources elsewhere and just focus on what they were doing already.
I think I just want to add a little bit to that question. I mean, something that we've noticed is that Atlas is kind of a weird company, and they are always asking. They are always asking about on surveys whether or not you want to see Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal or whatever on the Nintendo Switch. Just to see if people really want to see that game on Nintendo Switch. But I'm pretty and while I'm pretty sure that everybody votes that they would like to see it, they absolutely don't do anything. But I don't know. They may have some sort of deal with Sony. I don't know. But there's nothing that proves that. And from what I heard, I could be wrong. Anybody can correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. I just kind of heard this. I haven't done my research on it. But I heard that Persona 5 Royal isn't doing the best on PS4. It's not doing as good as it could have. So why would Atlas keep Persona 5 Royal from the Nintendo Switch? I don't really know. We know that they don't have a deal.
Here it is, February 5th, Persona 5 Royal sold below expectations, Sega says.
It did. There you go. So I don't know what they do it, but at this point, if they do not have a deal with Sony, Atlas is just losing money just because they want to do it. Honestly, because that game would sell well on Nintendo Switch.
Okay, but Persona 5 Royal wasn't out in the States yet, so that could change the narrative a little bit.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
So Persona 5 Royal in Japan sold below expectations, but we don't know about the States, at least not from this article.
Gotcha. All right.
So I just want to continue moving on because there's several different questions in the chat. Control-Alt-Dan asks, still think Metroid is happening this year? I'm going to say yes. At this point, I still think it's going to happen. We're not talking about Metroid Prime 4, okay? That's a ways off. We're talking about either A, Prime Trilogy, which would be, remasters of old Metroid games. Either that or 2D Metroid. One or the other, I think we can get one of those this year. We'll see which one happens. I think that's a fair bet that we'll get at least one of those this year. We'll see, though. It is kind of like an interesting year in terms of what we get, because we really don't know. Darcy, I also think by direct drought, it is very much to do with not having knowledge of upcoming games, specifically Nintendo first-party games. Exactly. We don't really know what's to come. We don't know about the summer or beyond for this year, and that's sort of a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. Smashify, I heard Sakurai is working from home. Who else would expect more Nintendo characters than third-party characters as a result? That's an interesting question, Smashify. I don't know for sure what this will mean. I don't want to jump to the conclusion that the simple fact that Sakurai having to develop from home means that there will be more first-party characters than third-party characters. I bet some people will assume that's the case if there ends up being a lot of first-party characters, but my impression is that there's just going to be more first-party characters in general. I still think there's going to be some third-party characters, but yes, I guess that there could be some sort of challenge between, communicating and interacting with these third-party companies. So it's possible that maybe they do cancel some plans for third-party characters and put in a first-party character instead. I don't know, but I'm going to say that either way, there's probably going to be more first-party characters than third-party characters in the past. If anything, what I think it would do, it would perhaps move up some first-party characters, and maybe the third-party characters come later. In fact, maybe that's why we got the ARMS character announcement now. Maybe that character would have happened later on, and they did it now because it was easier to get a first-party character out the window. Although, given we got the recent ARMS, pass thing to play the game for a little bit and the tournament, I'm thinking that maybe they were planning to have this announcement around this time anyway, so that kind of goes against my theory. We'll see how things turn out, though.
Who do you think we're gonna get from ARMS?
I think it pretty much kind of has to be Springman and maybe other characters. I think it's interesting because they showed the entire roster when they were talking about the next ARMS character for Smash Brothers, right? why would they show every single character? I think by showing every single character, they're opening up the discussion for any of those potential characters. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, my initial impression, like my first thought when I saw it, was they're gonna have multiple ARMS characters as one character, like, and they'll be all skins of each other. I don't know if it's gonna be 8 ARMS characters. I'm not saying that, but maybe I'm thinking at least 2. I'm thinking at least Springman and Ribbon Girl, and they'll have alternate costumes. Maybe more. Maybe Ninjara and is it Min Min or Twinto?
But who would you like to see? Like, if you had to pick one.
Well, I'm not the biggest ARMS fan, so I can't like tell you like, oh man, this will have me super excited. But who I most want to see is Springman and Ribbon Girl, and Ninjara, and either Min Min or Twinto. Like, I want those characters in there.
You want everybody.
I want alternate costumes of in one character. I want them to pull a hero, but for ARMS.
That's fair.
That's what I want. I think it's possible. I understand that they all have like slightly different movesets and mechanics and ARMS, but you can sort of bunch that all together into one character. That's what they did with Byleth. I don't think it's that crazy. Now, I think there's going to be maybe some minor limitations with which characters they pick. Like, the characters have to have a similar shape and form, because if they go with like one of the bigger characters like Max Brass, the hitboxes might not really match up too well. So that's kind of a potential challenge there. But if you pick characters that all have a similar shape and form, you can get away with it. So that's how I think it's going to work out. Well, how do you feel about it?
Well, honestly, I haven't thought too much of it. I just want to see Twintel there. That's it.
Twintel, baby. Yeah, she'd be great. We'll see. We will see. Moving on to chat, though, I want to catch up here. There's several interesting questions and points. Let's see. Darcy, also Audrus, I'm saying this so you have evidence of my L if I'm wrong, but I really don't think they would put an ARMS character in Smash that they weren't at least planning a sequel at some point. Maybe they will do a sequel. The Mario Kart team's working on something. I hope it's not another ARMS game, but maybe it will be. Could be. Hello there, Mark Jacobs. How you doing? Control Alt Dan. At this point, I'm thinking the next proper direct will be in June for the E3 replacement. Ray, do you think we are going to have a Nintendo Direct at the same time we normally do this year in early June?
Yes, I think we will.
Why?
Because what better time to let everybody know about what's going to happen throughout the rest of the year?
Okay.
Because we know a couple things, but it's not like we know enough of what's going to happen this year, as you previously stated. So when are they going to do it? You know what I mean? So I think it's still going. It's not going to be labeled E3 or anything like that, but it's just going to be its own direct. I do think so. Probably not the same dates that Nintendo used to do back then or whatever, but mid-year. I think at this point we should get something. We should be getting something mid-year in order to let us know what's going to happen throughout the rest of the year.
I
need to know.
I do think we need to know. I think Nintendo has done a great job of making us wait as long as possible before getting an announcement with the Nintendo Direct Mini. It wouldn't shock me if they make us wait a little bit longer for the next Direct. I think definitely after Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and then there's going to be the ARMS character that probably will be its own separate presentation, and there's that board game compilation, but I really feel like that shouldn't impact when Nintendo has their Direct. So I'm thinking it could happen in June, because that's shortly after the release of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Once that game has gone and sold, then they push it for a little bit, then they can start focusing their efforts elsewhere. I think maybe we get the ARMS presentation first, and then after we get the E3 Direct. Maybe the E3 Direct, obviously I'm saying E3 Direct because it's around that time, but I guess we should just call it the Summer Nintendo Direct. I think that Summer Nintendo Direct could happen at the same time it usually does. It wouldn't shock me if Nintendo waits a little bit longer. They've been doing a great job of making us wait a little bit longer, or a lot longer than usual. So they could do that, but the problem is, as you noted, Ray, that we don't know about what's really happening this summer and beyond. Nintendo has to give us their plans, and I'll actually make the argument that even if Nintendo has their presentation in the beginning of June, if it's by June, if it happens at the beginning of June, that pretty much tells us that July is going to be kind of dead. Unless we start hearing about something. You know, like, I think maybe what it is, Bravely Default 2 hits late July. If we get the presentation early June, maybe that's what could happen, because we already know about Bravely Default 2, and that's when it comes out. If that's what happens, if it hits late July, I think maybe then, you know, that would be enough time for other things to come out, say in August and September, and they can announce them then. I think that's possible. But I think that the fact that we don't know about anything for July or beyond is concerning. We don't have any announcements for anything. Like, they're really sort of stringing us along here. We don't know that much.
And I feel like there's other games that were previously announced that we still don't even know when they're releasing.
Yeah, that we don't know like coming out this year. Like Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3, Shin Megami Tensei 5. Pikmin 4 has been in limbo forever.
I was referring to something more like No More Heroes.
No More Heroes 3.
You know,
it's not being published by Nintendo, but it is a game that we are expecting to come out this year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not published by Nintendo. It's a Nintendo exclusive, though.
That's true.
We don't know anything about that game. They didn't mention it on the Direct Mini.
No, it could be a late game. Really, it could be. I mean, it's obviously later in the year. I would hope it comes out summertime, but it may not be ready then. So
who knows?
Yeah.
But I think they need to. I think they need to do a Direct around that time at least. You know, in order for us to know what's going to happen, because you know, it's not like they can't. It's not like they're gonna. They're just. I understand that being a slow year, but they have to release something. Something has to come out. You know, so I think that's the perfect time to let us know. Okay, Nintendo, what's gonna happen the rest of the year? Can we please know?
I want them to tell us. Absolutely. So a couple things in the chat, and then we'll go back straight to the discussion. Mango Man is saying, Twin Tail please, no Spring Man. Mango Man is on the Twin Tail bandwagon. Twin Tail will be great. I'll tell
Mango
you that.
Man is just Mango Man is my buddy because he understands that Spring Man is a little generic, and he understands that Twin Tail should be there for reasons that I'm not going to mention right here in this podcast. But
well, I mean, this is not a child-friendly podcast, just for the record. YouTube changed their policy, so all of my content is directed towards ages 13 and up.
Okay.
Yes. Good. So I can say shit, then we're good. Yeah. But Dat Boy said in the chat, we've heard about Mario remasters of Paper Mario, but what about Odyssey 2? So Odyssey 2. I at one point thought maybe we could see that this year. I'm no longer thinking that. I think if we're going to be getting Paper Mario, the Mario remasters, and even a 3D World Deluxe this year, Mario Odyssey 2, if it is in development, is not coming out until at least 2021. What do you think?
It comes out this year, though.
What?
I hope it comes out this year, though.
You hope Odyssey 2 comes out this year?
Yeah. I mean, can I get my opinion?
No, you don't. We don't have opinions
about. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to leave. Bye, everybody. Nah, I'm joking.
So,
I just wanted to give my opinion on the Mario collection.
Oh, dude. Floor is yours,
dude. If that happens, oh my god, I really am gonna lose it. I really am gonna lose it. They're gonna include my favorite 3D Mario games of all time: Mario Galaxy, Mario 64. Sunshine, get out of here.
Mario Sunshine, yeah. I'm hoping for that, dude. Now, let me ask you a question though. I'm just expecting remasters. If it's at least 3, I'm hoping that Galaxy 2 is in there as well, but we'll see. If it's just those 3, even so, that's kind of a lot. I'm not expecting them to be like dramatic changes over their original forms. I'm expecting all of them to be like upscaled to 1080p with some cleaned up textures and just like slightly fixed up controls. Maybe if they throw in a little bit of extra content into each one, like maybe some sort of collectible or something like that, or some sort of speed trial challenge, but I'm not expecting anything super major.
Same thing for me. I mean, I think that with a game like Mario 64, what they're gonna do is that they'll probably take what they did like on Mario 64 DS and something like that, and I guess upscale it, maybe. I don't know much about
You think we
development.
get the 64 DS content? That'd be nice. I don't expect it. I'm kind of expecting it to be based off the base 64 game.
Really?
That's what I'm thinking. I want the extra content. Do not get me wrong. I just don't expect it.
Oh, well,
My personal vibe is just they'll go for 64, especially if it's more of like a legacy collection sort of thing. Like, the idea is to celebrate the 64 version. You know what I mean?
well, I'll tell you what. I don't care what version of it is. Give me like a Mario All-Star style compilation with 3D Mario games. I'm fine with that, dude.
Yeah.
I
I
am
mean,
fine
I'm
with
looking
that.
forward to having Sunshine on my Switch, dude. That's what I've been waiting for that for a long time. A long
Not the
time.
biggest content fan, but hey, if people enjoy that, I mean, it'll be nice to play it again, even though it's not my favorite one.
Well,
But
I think the remasters could fix it up a little bit, like adjust the camera controls and things like that, and that could make it more fun for more people.
hopefully the controllers as well.
Well,
They were not my favorite.
Well, that's the thing that I think will probably fine-tune the most. Now, let me ask you a question, though. So, we were talking about Odyssey earlier. I want to see Mario Odyssey this year. Odyssey 2, obviously, that's what I want to see. I'd pick that over any of the other Mario content, but I don't think that's going to happen given that we're getting this other stuff, right? But, what if... This is a little crazy, but what if the Mario remasters are more than what we talked about? What if they're like built in the Odyssey engine with new content?
Built in the Odyssey engine with new content. That's a lot, man.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel.
that's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount. It's a ridiculous
That
amount.
is just something that would probably just stay my dream and never happen.
But I'll also say there have been, like, for example, Activision did it with their Crash games. They did it with their Spyro games. Why can't Nintendo do it with their Mario games?
Nintendo's not like that, man. I don't know. I haven't seen Nintendo do anything like that.
I agree.
before.
I agree. I think the best thing we've ever seen from Nintendo is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. They're remaking the game with new graphics, enhanced controls, reworking the HUD, and like the graphics look amazing now, but they're also giving us an epilogue story. So they're giving us new content, like a chapter to the adventure. That's probably going to add at least another 10 hours to the game, maybe more. That's insane.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And that's something we know about, but I don't think Nintendo's going to go beyond that with the Mario Remaster Collection. If it's even a collection, it might be sold separately. I'm thinking it has to be a collection, though. Like, I have a hard time believing Nintendo's going to sell them all separately, all within 1 year.
I think it'll be a collection, and they'll just slap a $60 price tag.
Yes.
That's just how I see it.
That's how I see it, too.
I've seen some people saying, "Oh, it'll probably just be download, on the eShop to be downloaded." No, dude, I'm pretty sure they're gonna release a physical with however amount of games they're gonna put in there. They're gonna slap a $60 price tag for you to buy it. And if you complain about that, don't even bother, because you're gonna end up buying it because it's 3D Mario, a 3D Mario collection. Come on, how are you gonna pass on that?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. They don't need to rebuild it for people to buy it. So, but here's a weird thing though. I don't think it could happen. I just don't. Unless, instead of making Mario Odyssey 2, Nintendo developed this collection instead. Like, it would mean that we wouldn't be seeing Odyssey 2 for years from now, because they made this instead. That's the only way that this remaster collection could be remade in the Odyssey engine. It would just mean no Odyssey 2. It would mean that this remaster collection basically would be Odyssey 2. So, is there any credence to this idea? What do you think?
The question again, I kind of
Like, so my thing is that I'm just saying that I don't think the Mario remasters could be remade in the Odyssey engine unless instead of making Odyssey 2, Nintendo developed these remasters in the Odyssey engine. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of work. Like, the only way they'd be able to do that is if they developed these Mario remakes instead of Odyssey 2.
I agree.
In other words, I don't expect Nintendo to do that. I think what they will do is that they'll take those $60 that they would have gotten anyway by just slightly enhancing each game and putting them together, and then still work on Odyssey 2 and have that come out a year or two later.
And that's why I told you, like, these games, Nintendo doesn't really need to like redo these games like in the Odyssey engine or any other sort of engine, because these games would sell. Like, people would buy these games regardless. So the most I can see is just kind of an update when it comes to graphics. Putting the Mario, putting them in HD and all that, scale them up. But I don't see them doing anything or putting them in any other engine or anything like that. They could easily, like, let's be honest. You as a Nintendo fan collection with just minor updates on the visuals to make the games look prettier. Wouldn't you buy them?
Oh yeah.
I would
$60 for it.
Well, at the end of the day, it's 3D Mario games on the go. You got the game that everybody shine on the go. 64.
It's definitely more than enough. My thing is simply that I wanted to point out that, do you remember that watermelon Mario image? I put it on the podcast, people can see it. That was a new render that we had. It came out on Twitter last year from Nintendo's Twitter, and we thought, like, what was that from? Is it like Sunshine DLC or what? But now that we have these Mario remasters and we know Sunshine's included, does this Mario watermelon renders at all relate to these remasters? It's an Odyssey style render, but with Mario in like beach clothes and eating a watermelon.
I'm seeing it in the screen of the.
Yeah, I'll just
maximize. I remember it anyways. I thought, for the longest time, I thought that we were gonna have Sunshine DLC somehow on Super Mario,
and it never happened.
Could it be? Could that you're asking if that's pointing out something, like kind of letting us know, oh, you're gonna see Mario Sunshine remastered somehow on the Switch in the future? I don't know. It came out last year. I don't know.
What if like it's not a full-on Odyssey remake, but there is a bit more to it than just upscaling HD? Like, what if they do, like, maybe replace some of the character models and clean up some things, and then maybe they add a little bit more content specifically to Sunshine just to help fill it out a little bit more as a game. And maybe that's what one of these renders are applying to. Like, the game's not actually rebuilt in the Odyssey engine or like that, but they do add some Odyssey components to the game.
That would be pretty cool. Something that I've seen from Nintendo do in like previous. Well, I guess you can argue that it's not Nintendo who developed the games, but something that we've seen like in previous Mario RPGs that have been remade is that they always like add extra content to it. Sometimes it's just mini games. Sometimes it's just extra content, for people just to have fun that has nothing necessarily to do with the main game. But hey, maybe they could add some content that we can.
I think that's the best case scenario.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think there's a challenge, because the problem with adding new content to older games, those are engines that haven't really been used for years, right? Like, if it's one thing, it's like Captain Toad or 3D World Deluxe, because those engines were used just a couple of years ago. It's another if it's going back to like early 2001 or the 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. that I'm very interested in though is the rumored the new Paper Mario that's rumored to come out. With
Supposedly, it's
or
going back to the roots. Like it's gonna be more along the lines of Thousand Year Door.
Jesus Christ, man. I hope that's true. I hope that's true, and that's because the latest Paper Mario games that they released were not really the best. And I would really like to see, I would really like to see Paper Mario go back to like the N64 game, or even like to Paper Mario Thousand Year Door as well. Those were some of the best RPGs on Nintendo consoles, like back then, especially the Thousand Year Door. I don't know if you ever played that, but
Yeah, those
uh,
games are really cool. I am kind of looking forward to this Paper Mario game as well. I
I know you have not played the Mario and Luigi ones, right? Like
no,
the game,
no, no, no.
dude.
Nope.
I don't
I
know. I
shouldn't
don't
say
know
I've never
why.
played them. I played them a little bit, like, but I never owned them myself. Like my cousins had them on Game Boy. There was one for Game Boy Advance and SP. That I played that one of them on that one.
Superstar Saga. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I played that one for a little bit. Like I just tried it out. Like it was basically just like, maybe played it for like 20, 30 minutes, but I never like
Games are
owned the
just.
game and played from beginning to end. No.
Oh, those games were awesome. Like the last couple ones were a little slow, but like Superstar Saga. Partners in Times was good, although some people don't like it. But Bowser's Inside Story, that game was amazing, bro.
I've heard people like really praise that actually.
That's a good game, bro. Like that's very good. It's a very good game. A very good RPG.
Hmm. Yeah. I would like to see something like that in these remasters, but I don't expect it. Just me checking in the chat here. Michael L. What if these Mario remasters are just Kingdoms of Mario Odyssey 2? That would be unexpected. I feel like that would get, given that all these different sites like Eurogamer, Video Games Chronicle, and VentureBeat have all reported on the same thing. I don't think that they would have misconstrued a Mario remaster collection of these games to be just levels in a new Odyssey game. Maybe, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's impossible. Like if someone, for example, saw these games in some sort of trailer, right, and it showed the Odyssey Galaxy, if it showed Galaxy Sunshine 64 remade levels in the Odyssey engine, because it was actually just new levels for Odyssey 2, then I guess that is conceivable, but I feel like whoever would have spread that rumor would be an idiot. But it's happened before. For example, I think the Star Fox Grand Prix rumor, I think that might have been based off the Star Fox, the Starlink Star Fox DLC content. And to which I say, whoever saw that trailer and thought that meant a brand new Star Fox Grand Prix, you're an idiot. It could, I don't know how it happened, to be honest with you.
That kind of pissed me off. Not
Yeah.
even gonna lie, man.
Yeah,
I had my hopes up for that game.
I'd like to think that it was just a mistake. At the same time, if it was a mistake, that was kind of a dumb misinterpretation of what that would be. I don't know why that was just... And that was reported by Eurogamer, by the way. So, take it with a grain of salt. Even if Eurogamer reports something, it doesn't mean for sure it's going to happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Most of the time it does happen, though. Like, if Eurogamer's reporting, it's probably going to happen.
But there's quite a few people saying the same thing, not just Eurogamer.
About the Mario remasters. Yes, there's a lot more sources, a lot more credible sources are talking about the Mario remaster. So the Mario remaster situation is a lot more credible than the the Star Fox Grand Prix thing. Way more, absolutely. It's a big difference for sure. Still not confirmed though, so but I do think it's probably happening. So just looking in the chat here. Caleb 5 stars entertainment. Honestly, I don't think COVID-19 is not affecting the fighters past 2 characters only development due to the characters already being decided before the outbreak got really bad. I think that's probably the case. I think that they probably already have the characters in mind and they aren't going to cancel those plans. Like, they already knew who they were developing. It's just sort of getting to them and getting them done. But I'll say there might be a chance, given that they do not have the option to sort of meet people right now, and maybe a lot of these meetings they want to have in person, and that could potentially lead to some third-party breakdowns, because a lot of what goes into third-party relations is meeting each other in person, sort of communicating with each other and getting a good feel for things. If you lose that level of communication, that can perhaps enable some breakdowns in third-party relations. I don't think it will, but I do think that's a possibility. Overall, though, I think you're probably right that we're probably good. I don't think any characters were canceled, but Nintendo might be prioritizing the first-party characters right now and sort of delaying the third-party characters a little bit. That is possible, I think.
I don't think they're canceled either, because if they know the amount of characters that they're going to be putting in Super Smash Brothers, it's probably because they already decided who is going to go in.
Yeah, they did.
You know?
That is confirmed information. We know they decided who's going in. We don't know who they are, so if they want to cancel one and add another, they could, and we'll have no idea. You know? Unless they tell us. Did you hear me?
I heard you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
no,
actually...
I said you're right.
No, say that again?
I just said that you're right. It's true.
Yeah.
Like, for all we know, they could just have a third-party character for whatever reason. They just replace it with a first-party one. So, you're right.
Yeah. And I'll actually want to talk a little bit more about how we think this remote development could impact Smash development. There's one interesting thing brought up by Datboy that I want to get to. So, Datboy, and possibly if this is real, then since next year's Zelda's 35th anniversary, that could mean Zelda remasters and Breath of the Wild 2 for next. I'm assuming he means for next year. I hope not. If Breath of the Wild 2 is ready for this year, I think it should come out this year. I don't think Nintendo should delay the biggest potential release over the year to next year just for the sake of an anniversary. No. If you want to celebrate Zelda's anniversary, give us Skyward Sword HD, give us a Zelda anime, something like that. You can do that, and that's fine enough for, like, celebrating the 35th anniversary. The 35th anniversary is not nearly as important as the 25th one. I don't think you need to, like, have a huge celebration every 5 years for a game and sort of slot that into when it should come out. But if Breath of the Wild 2 is not ready to come out this year, then sure, market that Breath of the Wild 2 along with 35th anniversary. That's fine. But I'm hoping, really hoping and thinking that if there's no major delays, Breath of the Wild 2 should come out this holiday. What do you think, Ray?
And I'll be completely honest with you. I really want Breath of the Wild 2 to come out this year. And I agree with you. If it's ready, they should release it. But at the same time, it's like, oh man, will it actually happen?
Will it actually be ready? We don't know. I want to reiterate for like the 50th time since we first learned about Breath of the Wild 2 that trailer was a story trailer. Meaning, if you look into how Zelda development goes, typically story is developed late into a game for Zelda. So since we saw a Zelda trailer, that implies that was the game's already late into development. I know a lot of people like to assume that when they see a trailer that says now in development, that means, oh, they just started development. No, it does not mean that. It means that it's been in development. We don't know for how long, though, usually. But we do know for Zelda because they actually confirmed that they were already developing Breath of the Wild 2 back at the end of 2017. So when we got the trailer saying now in development back in 2019, that was already 2.5 years after they announced the development for the game. So technically we already knew they were working on the next Zelda at the end of 2017. So the game's been in development for a while already. We're approaching the 3-year mark. I said 2.5 years earlier. At the time it was announced, it was probably a year and a half, I guess. Holiday 2017 to mid 2019. That's a year and a half. But by the time it would come out, which would be holiday 2020, that would be 3.5 years since. Well, it would be 3 years. Yeah, 3.5. Yeah, mid 2017, holiday 2020. That would be 3.5 years since. No, my math. What am I talking about here? Yeah, my math is all off. Let me reset. I'm sorry. Math is terrible. Okay. Development supposedly began for Breath of the Wild 2 back towards the end of 2017. Holiday 2020 would be a 3-year development cycle. That's enough time for a game that's building off the assets of Breath of the Wild 1. They already have the engine in place that cuts down development by at least a year or two. And when we saw a trailer back last year, that was a story trailer suggesting they were late into development. So I think probably the game will be ready. I don't think they didn't even have a need to show it off last year. If they had just ended things off with the Banjo-Kazooie reveal, that would have been fine. No one would have batted an eye. But they showed it off anyway. So I think that means that they are prepared to have this game come out this year, especially with the next gen coming. Assuming Xbox Series X and PS5 do come out for the holidays this year, as they are planned to, then Nintendo's going to want to have something to sort of maintain the spotlight. Yeah, I know. People always say, Nintendo says, oh, we don't like to compete directly. I'm sure someone's be like, oh, Nintendo doesn't compete directly. They don't care to have anything come out to compete with next gen. I think that's bogus. I think that regardless, they're going to want to have something to hold the spotlight for the holiday season. They need to have something big for the holiday season. Because, sure, maybe they're not directly competing with Sony or Microsoft in terms of like the same type of system. But at the end of the day, they are competing for the money in people's wallets. They're going to spend their money on something. If they don't spend it on Zelda and the Switch, they're going to spend it on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X instead.
Well, I mean, so something I was going to bring up, you already brought it up, but something that I was going to bring up is that, a lot of the assets on Breath of the Wild are going, like the world, the engine and everything is already been developed, because that's what they're going to use.
We know we're returning to Hyrule. We're not going to a new land.
Exactly. So, the story itself, I think, is the major thing that they're going to be working on this game. And what they showed really on the trailer was a story, like you said, is a story trailer. So I would have thought, without this COVID-19 thing, that it was going to be. That's
the thing that's really going to potentially hold it back. COVID-19. That's the thing that we should be worried about. That's what could maybe lead the game to not coming out this year. Yeah,
and I also agree that they need to have some. I'm one of the fans that actually does think that whatever Xbox and PS4 and Xbox and PS5 are going to be doing, I don't think it matters directly that Nintendo, because Nintendo it's not really competing with them directly. However, I do agree with the fact that they must have something for Christmas in order for them to have some sort of spotlight, because they don't really want to put themselves in a.
I think if all they have at the end of the year is Paper Mario, they're going to be in trouble.
They put Paper Mario by the end of the year?
If that's their only game for the holiday season, yeah.
I don't think they'll be in trouble, but I think they'll.
In trouble in the sense that they won't maximize on sales. Will they be fine? Yes. If Nintendo doesn't release anything else for the rest of the year, they will be fine. But, you know what I mean? Like, they won't really maximize what they could do.
They won't shine, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think, man, I really do think that. Man, I really hope that Zelda would come out this year. It's like you ended with Banjo and Kazooie like last E3, but they showed Zelda.
If Zelda doesn't come out this year, I think it would have been a mistake to have shown it off last year. Like there was no need. Now they put us in the perspective of thinking that I don't think they should have done that if they didn't think they could come out with a game this year. But maybe they did have it planned for then, and then COVID-19, which is something that no one really could have expected, led to delays, right? So that if I think that really is it. If COVID-19 impacts it, sure. If not, then I think we're good. We'll see. And I think that the thing that sort of helps us out a little bit is that this is going to be something that would come out towards the end of the year. So, maybe they can still pull it off. And in fact, maybe if anything, maybe it would just mean the game comes out in December instead of November. And I think that would be fine, but we'll see. And even if it does come out next year, I want to stress that won't really ruin my experience of the game. It'll ruin just my hope of seeing it this year. That's really it. Then that's fine. That wouldn't really be that big of a deal. I would hope Nintendo has some good stuff for this year though. Like I hope they have something, and I hope it's not just chess, 3D chess on your Switch. Like I don't want that. I can play normal chess. So,
really honest, I just want to see the new design of Ganondorf, so people could just stop some of those.
The rejuvenated
artwork,
rehydrated Ganondorf. Yeah, that's a little odd to me as well, for sure.
With pierced nipples,
or maybe it'll do the opposite. Maybe it'll be like they'll go exactly in that direction and be like, oh, people will love it. I hope not, but we'll see.
I forgot now.
Yeah. But to turn things back towards Smash Brothers, because I did say we would talk about that tonight. We recently got news that Sakurai and his team are going to be developing the Smash Bros. DLC remotely. We've talked a little bit about it already. But in your opinion, Ray, how do you think it's going to impact development? Will it at all?
It will impact development. When it comes to if they are working from home, it will definitely impact the development of it. I don't think the development will necessarily stop, but I do think that there's certain things that are going to be that they're not going to be able to do from their home that they could be doing better, that he could be doing better at his office or his place of work. I don't know when it comes to like the interaction he has to have with other teammates, other developers that are also working on the game, how it would actually work, with this COVID-19 deal. But I think it'll slow. Unfortunately, I think it'll slow things down. It won't put a stop on it, but I do think that we can expect maybe to get that ARMS character or even future characters.
They told us June, so I'm thinking June.
They told us. I mean, if they said June, I mean they could. But
I'll tell you this: I think if it wasn't for COVID, maybe we could have seen the character in. No, I think honestly, June I think is about the right time. I would have expected it anyway, because if you just do the math, 6 characters across 2 years, that means every 4 months, right? So, Byleth came out, February? Or January or something? So 4 months later, that would be close to June.
Yeah.
And I'm only expecting one more character to come out this year.
I think that's where the first party idea of characters, comes up. In the sense that maybe there's certain things and certain certain meetings that he would have to have with other people from other companies.
Yeah.
I guess to try to get some third party characters.
I think they already know what the characters are. I think it's just they want to the company, say Capcom for example, they want to make sure their character is being represented properly. So to show that character off to them, there are challenges involved with that. And there's also security, right? Like this whole leak culture with Smash Brothers is huge. They don't want any leaks on the characters. So given that they now have to work remotely, that's going to make it even harder because there's a lot less security with that.
True. And I got to tell you something. I'm kind of tired of these leakers when it comes to Smash Brothers. I really just want to. I just really want to be surprised. But you know what? I'm not even on Twitter all that much. So hey, that's fine.
As far as I'm aware, the whole leaking situation hasn't been that crazy lately. It's just been most of it's been wrong. So yeah, and I'm kind of happy about that. Yeah.
It's been wrong, but I just feel like don't you remember like when we were waiting for this for a new direct to come out, even though we're at a Nintendo Direct draw still, but don't you remember like when we were waiting prior to this Nintendo Direct, meaning all the leaks? Well, that they were wrong, but
They were fake
it's
and
like
wrong,
every
man.
single
Like there was
day,
that one
bro.
that was talking about both Mario and that both Metroid and Zelda in a direct. I was like, yes, let it happen. Yeah,
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 that's
those two.
crazy.
Yeah,
But it's just the amount of people just talking every single day, just talking about these leaks, and you will never know until you actually see the actual direct. It's like, come on, man. I don't know. I don't. I really am tired about that. But I mean, as far as like Smash Brothers, I think it affects it. Like, if I would be able to tell you better if I knew more about development, but
yeah. I
I do
think
think it has an effect in a way. Yeah.
I think I think ultimately the quality of the character will not be impacted, but I think what it may lead to is just them taking a little bit longer. But here's the interesting thing, though. I think it's gonna make their jobs a little bit harder, but they're gonna figure it out. I think they're gonna figure it out, and what's gonna happen is that maybe it slows things down a little bit, but given that this second Fighters Pass is already gonna be more spread out than the previous one, we may not even notice that much of a difference because we should already be expecting them to be taking longer anyway. You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference between waiting 4 months between every character as opposed to 5 months for every character? You know, I think that'll be fine. That's what I'm sort of personally thinking right now. I don't think the release date is going to be delayed by so much that we're like, oh my god, it's been a year since the latest Smash character. I don't think it's going to take that long. I also don't think that it's just one character at the end of the day per every few months. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I understand a lot goes into that one particular character, but it's not like you need hundreds of people to be working on this one particular character. It doesn't require a huge development team. So I'm thinking probably we won't notice that much of a delay. In my opinion, at least. I always expected the next Smash character to be announced around E3 time anyway. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not even sure there has been a delay yet. They made it sound like it was delayed in the Direct Mini, but I didn't expect it to be. I didn't expect it to be coming out any later. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I expected it to come out. To be honest.
Yeah. So maybe they had in plans for it to come out sooner than we expected. So them delaying it just kind of meets my expectations. Maybe. Yeah. But going back into the chat here, let me see. Darcy, did you see that Resident Evil 4 is being remade? Expected 2022 release. It's hard to say if that can come to Switch given the intensity of the other Resident Evil remakes. I'll say that by 2022, Nintendo may have a more powerful version of the Switch. It may play it, but they also have to develop with that in mind. And and whatever the Switch Pro is not out yet. And at the same time, if it's a Switch Pro, I still feel like they should have it playable on the base Switch. So I really don't know, but I'll tell you, man. Resident Evil 4 first came out on the Nintendo GameCube. It was one of the best Nintendo GameCube games. I think that
The best Resident Evil ever.
it is the best Resident Evil ever, absolutely. And it was on Nintendo. And it will disappoint me a little bit if Resident Evil 4 Remake happens and it doesn't come out on a Nintendo system. That will bother me a little bit. As a Nintendo fanboy, it'll bother me a little bit. I'll have a PS4 or a PS5. By 2022, I probably will have a PS5. So, well, yeah, I think it's likely. Yeah, I think I'll probably have a PS5 by 2022. So, and if it comes out this year, I don't expect to buy PS5 immediately. It kind of depends on where I'm at money-wise. Hey, maybe I'll be rich in 6 months. Who knows? But probably by 2022, I'll probably still be able to play it. However, with either or a PC, so I'll have options for sure. But I would like to play it on the Nintendo system. So maybe there'll be a Switch Pro. Maybe that'll be possible. Maybe. But I don't think it's like a really safe bet. You know, like I don't. I want it to happen. I just don't think it. I don't know if it will. I'm not super confident about that. What do you think, Ray?
Well, I felt kind of the same way with Resident Evil 2 Remake. Because the first time I played Resident Evil 2 was on the Nintendo 64. It never came out on Nintendo Switch. So
Yeah,
it kind of sucks.
it kind of sucks, but it might end up being that way. But 2022 is 2 years from now, so we'll see how things turn out. If there is a Switch Pro in the works, I would imagine Capcom would know about it already, right? So maybe it's fine, and they're developing it for the Switch Pro in mind. Again, if it comes out for Switch Pro, I'd hope it will also come out for normal Switch. So maybe it just won't happen, but we'll see.
I would like Capcom to just start making new Resident Evil games. Oh, even though I do think they announced the next Resident Evil 8, I believe.
I heard then that's supposed to be based off of Village as well.
Yeah, so, but you know, I don't know.
Also,
I think as long as they improve on Resident Evil 4, I would love to see that. Just don't do what you did with Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
Well, that was not. It's not as good as the original, unfortunately. Even though it looks prettier, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah. So reading a couple of comments here. Lol Noob was saying Breath of the Wild 2 would be such a good contender with the new Xbox and PS5. I'm glad you agree. I hope it happens. Darcy said, I wouldn't mind animated shorts of major Legend of Zelda events, kind of in the vein of what they did with the Pokemon Generations videos from 2016. That would be really cool, and that could be some way that they could sort of help to celebrate the 35th anniversary next year. I'd appreciate that.
Or give us a Zelda series like Castlevania.
Ooh, that'd be incredible. Yeah, that would be really interesting. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. I think a Zelda anime is way more feasible than a live action movie. So I mean, with anime, it's a lot easier to create epic boss battles and crazy monsters and fantasy worlds. Like if you want to do that for live action, it requires so much more money and time, you know? And I don't think we really need that. I'll be completely satisfied with a Zelda anime. You know?
Yeah. Or they could do very well something like what they did with Kid Icarus Uprising. You remember the anime came out for that?
Yeah. Well, they had like it was a Smash scene, right, where there was Link and Pit fighting each other.
They had that, but they also had like as a way to promote the game, they also released like a 2-episode, or I think it was like a total of 4 episodes of Kid Icarus on the Nintendo eShop on the 3DS.
I don't remember seeing Kid Icarus. Oh, maybe. I mean, I guess I never saw it.
You missed out, bro.
No, maybe I saw it. It was just a long time ago.
There were some episodes that were like 3D. It's 3D animation, and there were some episodes.
I'm looking through one right now.
Yeah. Huh. You could do something like that, man.
That would be neat. That would be really neat. I'd be down for that. Yeah. That'd be cool. I don't know. I don't think they'll do it to tie into Breath of the Wild 2. I think it could just be for like the 35th anniversary or something. But I would really love that. That's a good idea. So going back into the chat though, Boy, it seems more like they're bringing Mario this year to Direct, no pun intended, people more towards Switch instead of new gen consoles, and Breath of the Wild 2 next year to keep people's interest. I honestly don't think that Mario Remaster Collection, Paper Mario, and Mario 3D World Deluxe are the kind of products you need to help the Switch sort of maintain interest along with PS5 and Xbox Series X. Because Mario Remasters Collection, as long as I think that'll sell really well, okay? But I think that's not new content. That's remastered old content. And it's not like a Mario Odyssey would, but not remasters for old Mario games as a collection that will probably come out in September, I think, for the 35th anniversary. Then you have 3D World Deluxe, which, no, it's just a Wii U port. Might be a nice Wii U port, but it's just a Wii U port. And then Paper Mario. You'd be asking a lot for Paper Mario to sort of garner that level of interest. That's all really nice stuff. I don't think that is everything Nintendo needs to compete with next gen, in my opinion. I think they need more than that. Now, maybe they won't have more than that, though. Maybe that's all they'll do, and it's just going to be a slow year for Nintendo.
And give me 3D Land for the Nintendo Switch. Not 3D World, 3D Land. I love that game.
Yes. I want that. I don't know if I should expect it, though. You know what I mean?
Not expecting it, though.
Yeah.
I'm just here.
What would be neat is maybe if they include like some remastered 3D Land levels in the 3D World Deluxe. Sort of spreading out the content between both. The 3D World. That would make me maybe want 3D World Deluxe a little more. I probably still wouldn't get it, because I 100% did both 3D Land and 3D World Deluxe. And I gotta be frank with you, of all the 3D Mario games, the ones I have the least interest in replaying are 3D Land and 3D World.
I don't care about 3D World. I think 3D Land is amazing.
I liked it a lot on 3DS, but I 100%ed it, so I'm good.
I don't know what it is about 3D Land, but I think it's just much better than 3D World.
The thing is, 3D Land, that was on the 3DS. So I feel like our expectations, 3D Land really hit it out of the park, you know? 3D World, on the other hand, though, that, in my opinion, fell below my expectations for what I wanted in a HD 3D. For the first HD 3D Mario game, we got 3D World. It fell below my personal expectations for what I wanted. What I wanted was Super Mario Odyssey. I got it. It just took another 5 years.
But aren't you happy that instead of coming on Wii U, it came out on Switch instead? I'm happy about that.
Oh yeah, because I like Switch more as a system. But I think the reason why the Wii U failed, the biggest reason why, wasn't because of the wonky controls. It was because they didn't have games like Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild at first. Their biggest game in the first year was Pikmin 3.
Remember how much they were pushing that game.
And then for the holiday season, their big thing was Wind Waker HD. Cool. Wind Waker's a good game, but it was it was an HD remaster. And actually, it wasn't even an HD remaster, because it still looked like Wind Waker. It was just kind of like they gave it a new lighting engine and they cleaned up the textures. It looked great. Don't get me wrong, but I think you know what I mean, though. It wasn't a ground up new Zelda game.
Yeah, I know.
So obviously,
I bought the bundle.
What?
Bought the Wii U bundle with Wind Waker on it.
And it was great, but it was still Wind Waker.
Great. Yeah.
So, and then the next year we got 3D World, and it was okay.
It was a good game, bro. It wasn't amazing.
I 100%ed the game. I completed it. I did every little thing. I got every possible star and collectible in that game. So, I'm not saying I hated it. I definitely liked it. It just wasn't. It fell below my expectations.
I liked it, but comparing it to a game like 3D Land, that it's obviously kind of what it's based off, even though 3D Land is on 3DS, I still consider it to be a better game. I don't know why, but I just do.
On 3D Land, I feel like the idea of it, the concept for it, made sense on the 3DS, you know? Like, having it be more of like a 2.5D Mario, that worked. To take that idea and just HDify it and put it on Switch and just make it multiplayer, I just felt like it felt underwhelming to me, given what the Wii U would have been able to do.
Yeah, I do. I do remember a lot of people bashing the game, like back when it was announced.
And
Is this my Mario?
I think the kitty thing was also a little weird for people.
Yeah,
Like, it's a
I agree.
cool costume. It's just kind of like, it's not cool. It's fun. It's like a cool concept, but in terms of marketing and appearance, you're putting Mario in a kitty costume and making him do this. Like, it's cute, but it's not like Mario Galaxy Epic, It's like, it's two completely different things. People wanted Mario Galaxy Epic. We got Mario in a cat suit. And it wasn't like open world Mario either. It was like more of a modest take on 3D Mario. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds so awful.
Yeah.
It's cool though. When you play the game, it's cool, but
yeah, it's
sounds
fun.
like
I thought
an
the cherry mechanic was cool. The worlds were very polished and fun. I personally didn't like the multiplayer in it because I don't like it when people mess with my platforming. Because platforming requires timing and spacing, and then when you throw other people messing with you, it just kind of makes it frustrating. So, I didn't enjoy the multiplayer in it. I'll be frank. I don't plan on buying 3D World. I have it on my Wii U. They would have to add some really. I don't think.
Oh, but let me ask you this: can you take your Wii U on the go?
I can put it in my backpack.
Oh no! Can you take it on the go?
No,
like
but I also don't care to play 3D World on the go. I don't feel like playing it all the time. I haven't played it in years, so whenever I feel the urge to play it again, I'll just fire up my Wii U. But to be frank with you, I could go another 5 years without playing it.
I mean, if you have your Wii U accessible, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine for me.
I got rid of my Wii U. Like as soon as I was done playing Smash, buy Wii U. I didn't even sell it. I just gave it away. I was like, I want this thing taking up more.
I like my
space.
Wii U because it's a great virtual console. There's a whole bunch of. I have Super Metroid on there, Link to the Past on there, Mario 64 on there, Mario Galaxy on there, Skyward Sword on there, Metroid Prime Trilogy on there. All of that's on there, and it's great. Donkey Kong's on there. I have a nice back catalog of Nintendo games on my Wii U. That's why I still have it. And that I just don't feel I don't need to sell it, so So just sort of moving on the chat though. Darcy, for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, would you want direct interaction with the other Xeno worlds, or just alluding to the other worlds like at the end of Xeno 2, or just having the usual Xeno themes and motifs? For Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Okay, so we're talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So what I would like to see, what I want to see, this is my vision, okay? So in Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Future Connected, I want that story to help sort of set up for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Perhaps imply that there's a future where both Xenoblade 1 and 2 are connected. Future connected. They're both connected, which was already told. We were already told that Xenoblade 1 and 2 are connected in the end of Xenoblade 2. Sorry, spoiler, but a lot of you knew that already. So they're connected. And then moving forward, Future Connected sort of outlines how their worlds are connected. We see rifts in the trailer that's taking place at the end of Xenoblade 1, so maybe they're starting to see more of that connection. Like there's another parallel universe, and they're sort of living alongside of each other. And maybe those events could tie into Xenoblade 3, where both Shulk and Fiora and Rex and Pyra and the other cast of characters are in the same world together, and there are different options of characters you could use to play throughout that adventure. That would be my personal ideal Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but I don't know what they're going to do. It might be an entirely separate story, and I'll probably still love it just the same.
I would like to see something like Xeno Saga for the next Xenoblade. I don't know how they would incorporate it to be.
I don't think they legally can.
The other game.
I don't think they legally can.
What do you mean they can't do it legally?
Because Xenoblade is for Nintendo, and the Xenosaga and Gears were with a different company.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about like them making like a Xenosaga game, you know? I'm just talking about like the setting and stuff.
Make it similar.
On a game. make it similar.
Like,
Exactly.
I'm just saying they can't like outright say, "Oh, this is from Xenosaga." They could
Yeah,
say
no.
maybe, "Oh, this was inspired by our previous works" or something like that, but they can't play like, "Let's just take Xenosaga characters and locations and put it in there." You know what I mean?
No, that's
Yeah.
not what I mean.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, what I mean is just like do a game that is similar to that, but of course with original characters, like it's based on space. That's what I would like to see. I don't know if you got the opportunity of playing Xenosaga,
I
but those
have
are
not.
some.
No, I never had a PS2, so I know a lot of the games were on there.
Yeah, I would like to see something inspired by that, or something inspired by Xenogears, which was a pretty good game as well. I would like to play. I want to go ahead and finish FF7 remake first, so I can continue with Xenoblade 2, and then I can go with Xenoblade 1, and then I'll be all caught. Well, I gotta play Torna as well.
Yeah, Torna is just yeah, there's Torna as well. It's like you could play it at any point, but it's a nice prologue to Xenoblade 2.
And I heard it's sad,
Yeah, it's very sad.
so I really want to get involved.
When you play Xenoblade 2, you already know what's gonna happen in Torna, the Golden Country. You're playing a tragedy because you already know what's gonna happen, and you're like playing it hoping, oh, maybe it won't happen, but it's a tragedy. So.
Well, I want to get into emotions.
Romeo and Juliet is a great story, but you know it's a tragedy. You still know how it ends, and it's still a great story to experience.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very.
So, just kind of going down in the chat here, Mango Man, Xeno 3 would be a dropkick from Nintendo instead of Mario remasters. That would be a dropkick. That's not happening this year. We're getting Definitive Edition. We're getting new content with Future Connected. Maybe Xenoblade 3 is announced the year after. That's maybe possible. I don't know if they're going to rush into Xenoblade Chronicles 3, though. Supposedly, Monolith has another project in the works. I think we'll see that first, and then maybe a couple of years down the road, then we'll get Xenoblade 3. Hopefully, because I want Xenoblade 3. Hello there, Juanma. I see that you are Deku from the Discord. Guys, if you want to join the Discord, it is linked in the description below. So you have a question for me. You're saying, I read in an article that there are rumors of a Super Mario RPG remaster along with Geno coming to Smash. What's your take on this? I don't know the source of this rumor, so I'm going to tell you, no, it's not happening. I want it to happen, but I'll give you this. There technically is a Mario RPG rumored from credible sources, and that's the Super Mario. I mean, it's Paper Mario. That is, Paper Mario is the successor to Super Mario RPG. So maybe we get that, and what I'm personally hoping for is that maybe Geno, as also kind of like another sort of addition to the 35th anniversary, they have this Paper Mario be like a celebration of all the previous Mario RPG games, and they have nods to different ones, including maybe an inclusion of Geno as a character, the return of Geno in Paper Mario, and maybe this also can tie into Geno as a DLC character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That's my ideal situation. That's what I sort of see. That's what I hope to happen. Will it happen? I don't know. It's just speculation. Moving on, though. Actually, how would you feel about that, Ray?
On a new Paper Mario game?
Well, what would you feel about Paper Mario? Yeah, a new Paper Mario game, but also it being used to sort of help celebrate the history of like different Mario RPGs, and maybe even include Geno as a character in it.
That would be cool. Now I'm not the biggest. I'm not a Geno super fan or anything like that, but that would be cool.
You're actually a Geno Ultra fan. You have a shrine of Geno. You have like a little Geno head in your closet.
I'm actually a Geno hater, and I don't want Geno to be
out. Get out.
I'm joking. No, I would like Geno. No, I mean that would be cool, man. Everything that's related with Mario and RPGs, I'm always up for it. Even though the last couple Paper Marios have not been the best. Even though the last couple of Mario and Luigi's have not been the best, even though that company is not even developing any more Mario and Luigi's because they're not out there anymore. But everything that's related to Mario and RPGs, I'm up for it, just to try it. So I will be down for that.
Absolutely, it would be pretty cool. So Caleb 5-star have said a few times, Bandai owns Xenosaga and Xenogears, and it's owned by Square Enix. No, Bandai owns Xenosaga and Xenogears is owned by Square Enix.
Yeah, I think he's doing it because he didn't understand what I was trying to say. I didn't say for Monolith Soft to make another Xenosaga game. I said
they're using those themes, those like concepts and ideas.
I would like them to make another like a Xenoblade game, like the next Xenoblade to be inspired by that, to have the same idea, similar ideas than that. I'm not saying, oh, go and create another Xenosaga game. I know they can't do that. I know they can't create a Xenogears game. But I would like to see another game that, have similar ideas to that. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool. So let me ask you a question. I recently got news. Basically, Phil Spencer talked about how he doesn't want fans to come to expect a lot of Microsoft games to come to Nintendo systems, but he does appreciate the relationship. What do you make of that? Do you know what I'm referring to? Did you hear about that not too long ago?
To be honest, I haven't.
Let me see if I can look up the quote and I'll read it to you. Phil Spencer on Switch games. Let's see what it comes up. This was recent. Yeah, this is a few days ago. Xbox's Phil Spencer has a ton of respect for Nintendo, but is over rumors about select titles coming to Switch. If I can find the quote. The relationship with Nintendo is great. Doug Bowser and I, we talk often. Furukawa-san, the CEO of Nintendo, and I know each other well, and we have conversations. I will say that I think the individual IP by IP to different platforms, I can see it kind of get confusing to customers over time. We've been learning. Some of our development partners have really wanted to go do this, and we want to support the desires of our creative talent. Some of this has been partner-led. I think more and more about what does a full Xbox experience mean on different platforms. Right now, it seems like when any game comes out, there's that, is this one going here? Is this one going there? I'd rather be able to set more of an Xbox level expectation for our fans on where things are going to go. I thought we did that with first party when we talked about games shipping on Xbox and PC. Then I got some blowback from certain people and certain groups on that, but at least we set an expectation on that. I'd rather see us get to the point on a different piece of hardware we're on, so I guess we'll kind of leave it there. He also went on to say, I definitely have a ton of respect for the role that Nintendo plays, and I love having great games on their platform. I don't really love this idea that for every one of our games there becomes this little rumor on it, is it going to end up on the Switch or not? I feel we should set a better expectation with our fans than that. What do you think?
So what do I think of what he said?
Mm-hmm.
I think that what he's saying is that a lot of people have these expectations of games like Halo and other big games that are, belong to the Xbox brand to make an appearance on Nintendo Switch. And I guess what he doesn't really want is just for people to get their hopes up on seeing those games on Nintendo Switch, anytime soon or ever, because they still need to have representation of their Xbox brand, and those franchises actually represents the Xbox brand, and people would go and buy Xbox to play those franchises. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to see games from Microsoft, though. We probably are not going to see games like Halo and Gears of War or anything like that, but we could probably see other games that could probably be more for Nintendo consoles. I feel
like there are some projects that would make more sense. Smaller projects, of games that have already been made being ported over is one thing. I think, for example, if there's anything with Banjo, they should seriously consider getting it to Switch. Maybe it comes later down the road, doesn't come initially to Switch, but I think they have a lot of more sales potential for a game like that to come to Switch. You know what I mean?
That's exactly why I said I think that Banjo would be an exception to that. Would be an exception to that. They'll probably just make it exclusive for the Xbox at first, and then just you know see how it does there, and then eventually just porting it to the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Because people are gonna buy it.
Yeah.
If it's Nintendo fans are gonna buy that, I'm gonna buy it. So
I think there's still a chance we get Rare Replay.
I think that's not out of. I think that's definitely something that could happen.
I'll say that it's been a while, and my hope's dropping a little bit in it, but I still think it could happen.
Could happen. I don't see why it could happen.
I mean,
I think it could happen.
If you go by the facts, why not? We've gotten older Microsoft published games that aren't as big of a deal come out on the Switch. Rare Replay fits that bill. I think that could come to Switch.
All right. And I think, and to be completely honest with you, what I would like to see is Rare Replay, but replace some games with the Donkey Kong Country.
With some older, like Diddy Kong Racing, Donkey Kong 64, Donkey Kong Country. Yeah, those would be cool to see added instead of some other. Like, swap them out a little bit. I would like to see, personally, would love to see Cameo still be on there, but, well, I'll take what I can get.
All right. No, but I think that overall, I think he means, they still need their representation for their brand. So, like, people just going out seeing, because I've seen a lot of people just saying, "Oh, when are we going to see Halo on Nintendo Switch?" Xbox, Microsoft still needs to sell their consoles.
Yeah,
and those franchises help, sell Xbox consoles. So
let me ask you this. How do you feel about Master Chief coming to Smash Brothers?
You want me to personally tell you what I feel or what?
Would you be excited about it? Do you think there's a chance?
No, I wouldn't be excited about it. I mean, nothing against Halo or anything, but to me, Halo is a franchise that's never done anything for me, to be honest.
Interesting.
A lot of people like it, but in my
you're
opinion,
a Halo hater.
No.
Hating on Halo, I see. Well, it's okay. It's a Nintendo channel. We're all right. That's fine.
It's all right to hate, right? Hate Halo.
I actually really like Halo.
Halo never did it for me, man. I would just like to see other characters to make it there before Master Chief. I mean, again, nothing against the Halo community. It's just never really been my thing. Yeah. And I'm also the type of guy, I'm also the type of guy that character be in Super Smash Brothers if we're not gonna receive any sort of support, from that company, like basing a game.
I understand your point.
Giving us a game from that franchise to the Nintendo Switch.
Well, if we were to get Master Chief Collection, and I'll make the argument that there is the concept of just simply if the character comes to Smash Bros, that'll push that series over in general. So maybe, for example, if Master Chief were to come to Switch, that might raise awareness for the new Halo game coming out on Xbox later this year. Maybe, or maybe if they're gonna sell Master Chief Collection, that perhaps will entice more fans to try out Master Chief Collection on Switch, which might make them more of Halo fans, which might make them not double dip, but buy another system or buy some more games on their Xbox, including the new Halo game. I think there's some of that. I don't know if that's enough, if they'll gauge that as enough reason to bring it over, but I think there will be some of that potential sales there.
Right. I think so too. I just want to I don't own Nintendo. It's not really my company, so I'm not the one.
I own it. I own all of it.
I know it's yours, but for your own good, I think that if they're gonna give us Smash, if they want a Smash character to be if they want a Smash representation to for people who play Smash, I think they should give us something back. I don't know, a game, Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, or maybe the Master Chief Collection. I don't know. But I would like to see something,
Yeah.
Because really, like, all the characters we've gotten in Smash, they are on Nintendo consoles on one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, maybe I'm wrong, and if people disagree, that's fine, but I don't know.
No, I think you're right, man. I think you're right. But I think we're kind of reaching the natural conclusion to this discussion. I'm trying to think. I see Mango Man is really playing up the idea for Rex and Pyra to make it into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I think they have a great shot, actually. I think with Definitive Edition, that actually increases their chances, and if we do get an ARMS character, that could imply more of a Nintendo first-party character-centric Fighters Pass. And especially if the whole idea of assist trophies and Mii costumes making it in, if that's dispelled with this next ARMS character, if we get, say, Ringman and Ribbon Girl, which are both an assist trophy and a Mii costume, hey, I think Rex and Pyra could totally make it in. I think that could definitely happen, and yeah, Pyra would be nice, for sure. Definitely. But, yeah, I think we're pretty much done with the discussion. I guess we haven't talked. We could still talk a little bit more about Nintendo's summer. Like, Ray, what do you think, like, for this summer, what kind of games do you think we could get? Do you think it's, at this point, is it looking a little barren? Like, if we don't get the E3 Direct until June, and nothing is announced between now and then, what's going to come out in June and July? Maybe nothing.
Like, I don't think anything. I don't think, as of right now, I mean, the only thing that I could think is for them to do like stealth drops, like on Twitter or something like that.
I think, but I don't think they're going to release anything major, announce anything major like that. I think it's going to be some time, which is why I had a recent theory, and I'm not fully into this theory. I think it might be wrong, but I think there's some potential with this, so hear me out. We recently got this rumor about the Mario remasters and the other Mario games, and it's for the 35th anniversary, but a part of the rumor suggested this would be initially at E3. E3's been canceled. What if, given that there's not really anything slated for July, and June only has a board game compilation, what if Nintendo has a Mario Direct sometime in May, and they announce some of their plans for the 35th anniversary? Maybe they include Super Mario 3D World Deluxe for June or July, and that helps to fill up the summer months a little bit more. And they also talk about the Mario remasters and Paper Mario during this time as well. So we have a few more games sort of announced for this year, so we have a better understanding of what's to come for the year. And then maybe a month or two later down the road, sometime in the summer, be it in June or July, then we get a bigger Direct to sort of outline the rest of the holiday lineup.
God, I hope that really becomes a reality, because it's not looking amazing for this summer for sure.
Yeah.
And I will tell you something. I am the type of guy that does buy third-party games for Switch. I know a lot of people that don't really care for them. I mean, I think I've always supported third-party games on Nintendo Switch because I am grateful that a Nintendo console is getting as much as third-party, but man, it's just gonna feel very empty without any Nintendo support. Like first big support. So I just hope that, if it is going to be this slow for the first part of this year, man, I really hope they knock it out of the park for the rest of the year if that Direct comes out on June.
Yeah, I also hope so. I do have a gripe when you're talking about third-party stuff. Like, I'm all with you. Like, I want to try out Catherine and BioShock the Collection. Like, those recent third-party announcements I really want to get into. But my problem is that a lot of those games were announced to be coming out around the exact same time as Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I feel like they're kind of just shooting themselves in the foot here, because I'm going to tell you this. As much as I want to try BioShock the Collection on the Switch, I am definitely going to prioritize Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. And if they're coming out 2 days apart, I'm gonna buy Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition first, and then maybe eventually get to Bioshock the Collection, but I think they're shooting themselves in the foot by putting it out then. If the game were to come out a couple weeks earlier or later, I think that would have been a much better situation for them.
I agree. Yeah. Everybody is going to prioritize on what they think it's going to be the best game for them to play. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people you would just take Xenoblade over a lot of those games. I mean,
I'm kind of hoping Bioshock's delayed due to COVID. It's one of those games, and it comes out later.
Yeah. I mean,
they just have a lot of stuff for the end of May. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I think, and actually, we had a similar situation with Animal Crossing. There's a lot of stuff slated around the same time, and then once we came closer to that release date, we started seeing a lot of those games delayed and pushed up. I'm thinking that maybe the same will happen this time around as well. There's a lot of stuff being like loaded into the end of May slot, and maybe once we get closer to that, they'll end up delaying it a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. I hope so too.
I can't play it all at once. Got limited time and money, and hopefully by that point I'm actually at work, with normal hours again. So.
So you've been, for the most part, you've been chilling.
Well, I still have had to go to work, but when I'm at work, it's like not busy. We're just kind of sitting there. I've actually been playing a lot of Smash Brothers at work lately. Like we hooked it up to the TV throughout this week and just played Smash Brothers most of the time. That's pretty much it, because we're not actually supposed to be taking in people. Like, we're only accepting people for emergency reasons. If it's non-emergency, we're supposed to turn them away because we have to limit human contact. So it's just pretty much, if someone makes like an online order, we'll like go outside to like help set them up or something. Otherwise, everything should just be done online for customers, and we just play Smash Brothers. Yeah, so it's been kind of fun, but also slow. And we're also like alternating weeks of leave. So this week I worked. This coming week now, I'm starting a week of leave. So I won't be at work this week, but I will be making videos on YouTube. So don't you worry, that's coming. And actually, last week I had a week of leave, and I don't know if people realize that, but I put a little bit more effort into the videos I had come out last week. They were all like long. Like, I took time with each video. I want to sort of try and maintain that formula even while I'm at work, but easier said than done.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I see that Darcy actually added me. Do you think there's any chance of additional DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles, maybe a challenge mode similar to 2, or will Future Connected be the only additional content? I expect Future Connected to be the only additional content. That's what I'm thinking. I think some people might be expecting DLC. If it happens, great. I'm not sure. I think maybe there might be a little bit more pressure for them to do something like that, given that it's a slow year. They might want to use DLC to help, like, you know, have some sort of content for Nintendo fans. But I'm not expecting any DLC for Definitive Edition. I think Future Connected is going to be it. What else would they do? I guess like a challenge mode or something like that, I guess, but I don't think it's necessary. I feel like when you call it Definitive Edition, that's what it is. It is already the Definitive Edition. You know what I mean? Like, to add DLC to Definitive Edition, it'd be a little redundant. It's like, why even call it Definitive Edition if you're going to be adding more content to it, you know? So I don't really expect that. I think the additional content is coming in Definitive Edition with Future Connected, and that's enough for me. And I think later down the road, whatever happens. I'm kind of thinking of Future Connected as like another Torna, actually. I don't know if it'll be as long as Torna, but I'm basically considering like a whole other game. And actually, look at the trailer and the art for Future Connected. You have a Shulk. I'm losing my voice. You're using both Shulk and Melia, but also there's two Nopon. So I'm imagining those two characters will be a part of your party, and they look to be different Nopon from the ones in the original Xenoblade. So that might be your party right there. It's a separate party than what you had in your main gameplay, your main campaign. And it is actually a separate mode you pick than the main campaign in the game. We've already seen that for Definitive Edition. So I am looking at it as basically like another Torna situation, maybe a little shorter though.
Is Future Connected gonna be like a sequel, or
it's an epilogue story? So it's gonna be, it takes place after Xenoblade 1, but in the Xenoblade 1 world.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like, so literally, like, the events that transpire right after Xenoblade 1, that's what it's suggesting. Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Yep, and I'm not gonna say any more because I don't want to spoil it. Anything else for anyone, but yeah, that's what I'm expecting. So I'm actually, even though I've played through Xenoblade 1 already, I'm probably gonna wait on Future Connected to re-experience the story, because it's been years, and then I'll jump into Future Connected. The only way I would start Future Connected first is just because if I want to, like, analyze the story like crazy and really figure it out, but I'll probably just try and blitz the whole game and then do it. But I don't want to rush it either. Man, being a content creator is hard because I want to talk about the video stuff and I want to do it quickly, but I also want to take my time and enjoy the game as much as possible first. So if I got the game 2 weeks early, that would enable me to still take my time with the game and come up with, you know what I mean? Like, that would have been better, but I'm not there yet. Nintendo won't give me stuff. I have to, well, actually, I could ask. I don't think I'm there yet, though. I think I have to be a little bit bigger of a content creator for them to be like, hey, yeah, sure, review our games for us.
You'll get there.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah. Why isn't Borderlands 3 coming on Switch? I think we're getting like Borderlands 1. Great question, because the Switch is weak. Yeah. Thank you, Yellow Kazoo. Kazoo was congratulating me on hitting the 4K. Thanks. I appreciate it. It just, going along, just doing what I can do. Yeah. Actually, on that note, I've been thinking about re-pushing the Patreon lately. Like, I want to sort of relaunch the Patreon and give a few more, like, perks for being a Patreon member. I'm still working it out, so we'll see. I'll maybe announce something soon. I guess I'll have time this week, so maybe I'll work it out then. But if anyone's interested, my Patreon is linked in the description below. Yeah. Well, is there anything else we should talk about, Ray? Actually, one thing to. Well, what were you gonna say?
I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, I think we've covered everything. I guess we don't really know what we're getting for the summer, but what would you like to see? With reasonable expectations. Like, obviously, like, don't say Mario Odyssey 2 and Breath of the Wild 2 Metroid Prime 4 for July.
I would like to see the Mario collection, at least the Mario 3D game collection.
You want to see it for the summer?
Yeah.
Does September count as summer?
No.
Okay.
More like
early fall.
In the summer.
Late summer.
Possible.
June, July, August. I guess September is more of like the beginning of fall.
Yeah.
It's just my thing is that I'm sort of expecting the remasters to come out in September only because that's the month for the anniversary.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but maybe they have the remasters come out in the summer and the 3D World comes out instead in September, or just don't care about the month, it's just the year.
I just want to have something for the summer, because I mean, it's not looking like very bright, So,
It's not. Actually, there's something I want to show you. Let me see if I can find it. I made a video on this a couple weeks ago. This is just like an idea of how the year could be. I put it in the stream, unless you want me to send a file to you on Twitter or something. But basically, like, this is sort of how I envision the year to go, best case scenario. So basically, I'm kind of hoping that starting July, things start to pick up. And in July, we get Bravely Default 2 and Super Mario 3D World. My reasoning being, Octopath Traveler came out in late July last time. It seems like they're sort of following a similar sort of pattern there. And 3D World's a port. I don't really think I think they could fit both games in the same month. Maybe July, maybe 3D World comes out early July, Bravely Default 2 comes late July, and then in August we get the Pikmin 3 port, which at this point it's all ports daily for Bravely Default 2, right? But then in September, maybe we get Metroid, like the 2D Metroid we've been talking about. Maybe that happens early September or late August. I show it here in September, but maybe they could both come out in August, Pikmin 3 and Metroid, or like, you know, like a 2 or 3 week period in between them, sort of nicely spaced out. And then for the actual Mario 35th anniversary, we have the Mario Remaster Collection, right? But then after that, in October, for that October time slot, last year we got Luigi's Mansion 3, in 2017 we got Mario Odyssey, maybe we get another Mario game. This one's Paper Mario, and that sort of like concludes Nintendo's like 35th anniversary celebrations for Mario. Then in November, since there won't be any big Pokemon coming out this year because we're just getting DLC, Nintendo's big November game is Zelda. Zelda goes back to getting the November time slot, and it rocks the boat and shows the world that Nintendo's the best with the sequel to the best open world game ever with Breath of the Wild 2, and that's how Nintendo maintains a spotlight against next gen. And then Kamiya is like, hey guys, so remember how I told you Bayonetta 3's development's been going smoothly for like 3 years in a row? Well, here it is in December, Bayonetta 3, because Nintendo has had a history of releasing hardcore-centric games in December. Smash Ultimate, 2018, 2017, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I think Bayonetta 3 could be a good December game. This is obviously just like assuming that COVID-19 doesn't impact things too drastically and we have a solid 2020, but that's kind of like what I'm hoping happens for the second half of the year.
I mean, Astral Chain came out in October, right?
August? Actually,
I mean, August 31st, yeah. August 31st, I believe. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I'm not expecting Bayonetta 3 by that. Man.
When do you expect Bayonetta 3? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just thinking, like.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
When do I expect it? I don't know, man. Not this year.
Not this year.
Not this year.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
But I would like to, man. But I would definitely like to see Zelda, the Breath of the Wild 2. I think everything else is pretty believable. Like Bravely Default 2 in July, then Super Mario 3D World, Pikmin 3. I don't know. But I don't.
It's part of the rumored ports, so that's why I'm thinking that 3D World and Pikmin 3 were rumored, and 3D World is now being backed. So I'm hoping Pikmin 3 is also rumored.
Metroid and Super Mario, are you talking about Metroid Prime Trilogy or
no? I'm talking about a 2D Metroid game.
The 2D rumored,
like Metroid Samus Returns, but in HD.
Gotcha.
Like a sequel to Fusion or a remake of Fusion.
Yeah. This, I mean, the list looks pretty believable. The only game I don't know is about Bayonetta 3. I don't think it'll. For some reason, I'm not thinking it'll come this year. I don't know why. I would rather believe that Breath of the Wild 2 comes this year before.
If I have to pick, I pick Zelda for sure. Yeah. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, maybe Bayonetta 3 doesn't come out this year and they spaced out a little bit more. Maybe Metroid and the remasters come out in separate months, and Bayonetta 3 doesn't make it this year. I could see that. Yeah, I mean, that would be a little bit of a damper, I think, but it would still be fine. I think the real hit would be losing Zelda. Yeah. So I was just trying to remember all the good games that came out in the second half of last year to sort of see, like, comparison, you know? I'm trying to compile them all together, like of the published Nintendo games, because I don't remember. I'm trying to remember all of them, and give you like the actual dates for them, so we have like a fair comparison here. I have a decent list coming together actually. You might be surprised. It's pretty sick, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think you might be like, whoa. That was pretty stacked lineup. is another one. This is also published by Nintendo. Okay. All right. So, hear me out. All right. So, Mario Maker 2, right?
Right.
Mario Maker 2 came out June 28th. Okay. Super Mario Maker 2 came out June 28th. Then, in August, we got Astral Chain. August 30th. A month later, we got Astral Chain. Then, we got, on September 20th, Link's Awakening. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening remake on the September 20th. Then a week later, we got another published Nintendo game, Dragon Quest XI. Nintendo was really pushing that. Dragon Quest XI-S was published for the Nintendo Switch a week after Link's Awakening. Might I remind you that there was another game that came out in September that I completely forgot about, Daemon X Machina. That came out September 13th. Link's Awakening was September 20th. Dragon Quest XI-S was... come on, remember, brain. September 27th. Actually, I'm not sure Daemon X Machina is published by Nintendo. Actually, yes, it was. Yeah, it was right there. It was published by Nintendo. And then... yeah. After September, you know what month is after September? October. And that was Luigi's Mansion 3. Wait. There's another game I forgot. This was a big one. You want what it was? I think you really like this one. Fire Emblem Three Houses came out in July. So Mario Maker 2 is in June. Then Fire Emblem Three Houses is in July. Then Astral Chain in August. Then Daemon X Machina, Dragon Quest S, and Link's Awakening in September. Then in October, Luigi's Mansion 3. And then in November, Pokemon Sword and Shield.
My God.
So when you think about that, and you think about what I just said, is it really that crazy?
No.
Those are all published Nintendo games. Daemon X Machina, Dragon Quest XI-S, Link's Awakening, all of September. Super Mario Maker 2 was in June. July was Fire Emblem Three Houses. Astral Chain was in August, and we already talked about September. October is Luigi's Mansion, and then November was Sword and Shield. So I think what I just talked about would actually be comparable.
That is a crazy list, bro. And to think that there were actually people saying, there's no games.
Yeah. So maybe we could get a similar lineup, but I'll say this. Going into last year, the difference was we already knew about Fire Emblem Three Houses. We already knew about Luigi's Mansion 3. We already knew about Sword and Shield. We already knew about Link's Awakening. We already knew about Astral Chain. We already knew about Mario Maker. We knew about all these games this time last year. We don't know about anything this time.
Yeah. It's concerning.
But I'll say that our lack of knowledge doesn't necessarily mean there won't be games, right?
That's true.
I think Nintendo's just handling things different this year, in part due to COVID-19. In part.
Yeah.
It would be really disappointing if we don't have a big year, but I think they just haven't had it yet. They haven't made the announcements yet. They just haven't done it. We haven't had a Nintendo Direct since an actual Nintendo Direct since September.
Yeah. Oh man. Man, when you put it that way, it's kind of like, oh man, are we actually gonna have anything? You know, it's kind of concerning. But
it's weird because, like, on the one hand, looking at last year's second half, we could have a great second half this year, right? Especially after a slow first half. But the same hand, or on the other hand, considering that we knew about most of the games by this point last year, and we don't this year, concerning. But on the third hand, it shouldn't exist because people don't have three hands.
Oh.
This is an unprecedented situation. We are going through the longest drought ever. COVID-19 is leading to different things. Nintendo has never announced things in the way they have. Like, the patterns are all thrown out of whack. We don't really know what's going on. So, just because we don't know doesn't mean there aren't good things to be shown off. We just don't know about them yet.
That's true. And I feel like, you know, as fans, we can want everything we want. Like, we can want anything. But at the same time, like, we really got to be understanding of the situations that are going around the world right now, and you know, how they are affecting those who create our favorite form of entertainment as well, you know. So if we actually do get a slow year overall, uh, it's disappointing. But at the same time, it's like when you think about the possible reason why we got a slow year, it's like, it's understandable. These guys got to be healthy for them to be giving us our, the games we love. So
Yeah, I hope. Let me check in here with the chat real quick before we call it a night. Unless there's any other great points you want to bring up.
oh, I'm straight. I'm straight in everything, man.
So Nexus, from earlier, I wasn't sure when summer ends and when fall begins, but Nexus was saying most of September is summer. I think September 24th is the beginning of fall. Thank you. So, he actually said 22nd, actually. Very good. Because I would like that, actually. September is also the fifth year anniversary of the OG Mario Maker. I was in my first year of university when that released. Oh, look at that. Dat Boy, they need more Mario Maker updates, especially this year. Oh, you want more Mario Maker updates? Yeah, that could happen. Sabbath64 added me. Hello there, Sabbath.
They've kind of forgotten about Mario Maker too.
They had some updates earlier. Do you think they'll have more updates? Maybe.
I hope so.
Nexus is saying that I think Mario Kart 9 could take that November spot if it's part of the Mario blowout this year. I'll say that I'll be disappointed because I think that's a lot of Mario, and there's already a lot of Mario according to the rumor. So to have even more Mario and then not have Zelda would be lame. But maybe. Could happen. It could happen. How would you feel about that, Ray? If we, instead of getting Zelda, we got Mario Kart 9, Mario Remasters Paper Mario, and 3D World Deluxe?
Oh, that's a lot of Mario.
Like, space out Mario? I feel like you should space out Mario a little bit. Like, that would be kind of... you're overusing him a little too much.
Yeah. I think so. And honestly, I think Mario Kart, it's a great franchise, and I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is an amazing game. It's
still a best-selling game on Switch, right? So
yeah, and it's still the best-selling game on Switch. I'm pretty sure that they're not rushing on making another Mario Kart game for this year.
Well, it's rumored. A new Mario Kart game is rumored to be potentially one of the holiday games for this year. Either that or Zelda, or maybe both. But
I mean, another Mario Kart game would be a huge hit, though. Business-wise. But
they don't need it, given they have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah.
I think it makes more sense to have an expansion to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in terms of maintaining sales on that. Like, you would give that a little bit of a blip. Mario Kart 9 would still sell. It wouldn't be the kind of thing that I think would help to, like, sell systems if you already have Mario Kart, you know?
What, Mario Kart 9, you mean?
Yeah, I don't think a Mario Kart 9 would really push systems.
I think it'll push a lot of systems, man.
You think so?
I think so.
You think the people...
But I feel...
Like, they already have... If Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has already been out there, you think Mario Kart 9 would still push systems?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
Depending on what they add to the game, I guess. Okay. But
like, I would love it if they had, like, a hub world like Diddy Kong Racing and stuff. But for Mario Kart, that'd be pretty cool.
Like, I would like the idea of Diddy Kong Racing, like, where you could actually, like, race bosses and stuff like that. That would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome. Yeah, actually, the Mario Kart DS and Mario Kart Wii had some boss fights. Like, Mario Kart Wii's boss fights were only available online. Like, I think it was like a weekly event or something. It would be cool if there was some, like, boss fights and some exploration. I'd love that.
That would be pretty cool. But that's what I think. I think if they actually did release Mario Kart 9, it would sell a lot. But personally, my own taste, I wouldn't like that to happen. I would just like to see Zelda.
I want a little bit more balance. Yeah. And Zelda supersedes everything else. So, like, but we'll get whatever Nintendo gives us. I don't think it would be smart to have 3D World Deluxe, Mario Remaster Collection, Paper Mario, and Mario Kart. I think maybe save Mario Kart for next year if that is coming. But I mean, if Zelda's just not happening this year, like if it's just not happening this year, then obviously I will take Mario Kart over nothing. You know, like I won't be like, oh wait, no Zelda, no, I'm not buying Mario Kart till next year because I wanted Zelda. That's not happening. But we'll see. South Academy, I would like to see a Pikmin trilogy as well. Oh, we got Pikmin Trilogy instead of Pikmin 3. That'd be neat. That'd be pretty cool. I don't think that's a crazy thing either.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that could maybe happen, actually. Maybe. Nexus Academy. I think Mario Kart 9 could... yeah, I saw that earlier. I hope... We'll see. I don't know. Let me see here. I got another ad from Sabbath. Do you believe if 3D Mario games get remasters, do you think the 3D Zelda games will get the same treatment? No. I don't. Well, maybe. And actually, I mean, if they set the precedent already with Mario remasters, what's the difference we're not doing for the Zelda ones? Like, actually, you know, like having a Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, and Skyward Sword HD remaster collection for the 35th anniversary next year would be great, especially after Breath of the Wild 2 comes out this year. That would be good. I'm down for that. I think, if Nintendo sets a precedent this year with Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, then next year if they were to do Twilight Princess, Ocarina, I would love Ocarina, but that, no. Yeah, I think we could maybe see that. I don't think that's crazy anymore, given that the precedent has just been set with the Mario ones. So, because it would be weird to do something where you remaster the Mario games, then you take these old Wii games and you remaster them, but you only sell one of them for $60. But meanwhile, the Mario ones, which are also Wii games, at least with Galaxy, they're $60. You know, like that would be. And especially with considering the Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD have already been remastered, there's very little work to be done with those. You just have to map the controls for Switch controls and make sure it runs well, which I'm sure it will. There's very little to do for those. The only one that takes real work would be Skyward Sword. That would take a lot of work.
Yeah, very true.
So I think it's good. It's an interesting point, Sabbath. Maybe they'll do that. It almost makes me believe Breath of the Wild 2 will for sure come out this year, then thinking about it like that. Because if they have a 35th anniversary for Mario, and they do the 3-game collection, and then it sets the precedent, right? So then people will be like, oh, well, where's our 3D Zelda collection this year for the 35th anniversary for Zelda, you know? So maybe then they do it, but if they plan on doing that, then maybe you wouldn't have Breath of the Wild 2 come out in the same year as a 3D collection for the Zeldas. I think it'd have to be separate years. And given that I think it makes sense for Breath of the Wild 2 to come out this year, I think that kind of makes more sense to me. But maybe I just really want Breath of the Wild 2 to come out this year.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Nexus added me. I hope they add caves or something to Pikmin 3 if it's not a full trilogy. I played the Wii U version, so if they add purple and white Pikmin, that would help encourage me to double dip. I think it definitely should at least include all the DLC for Pikmin 3. So if the Pikmin 3 port is real, I think it should definitely 100% have all the DLC that was added for Pikmin 3. I don't know what else they'll do to it. I really like. Now I'm on this whole trilogy collection idea. I think now every port's got to be a trilogy collection. Everything, probably not, but I understand what you mean. For me, since I didn't beat Pikmin 3, I'm gonna get it again. But if they were to add Pikmin 1 and 2, it would be a no-brainer for me. Garrett Legendstone, hello there. So I think we're done. Actually, I think we've talked about it a lot. We've gone like 20 minutes past our expected time. Ray, got any final thoughts or things you want to talk about?
No, I guess the only thing I want to say is, Nintendo fans, just including myself, let's just have a little bit of patience and times are hard right now, but everything will come together, and eventually we'll get more games. If we don't get them, because of this virus that's happening, right now, I mean, let's be patient. Let's understand and let's respect and love the creators that bring us our favorite games. So, other than that, thank you for having me here, Andres.
Of course, man. Yeah. Well, yeah, guys. I think things can still be great. I think it's gonna be a good time. Stay tuned. Leave a like. Make sure to check out the Podcast Dojo. That is Ray's channel. It is linked in the description below. And I wish you guys all a happy Easter or happy holidays, or just stay safe and have a good time. Take care, guys.
Later.